What
All
up? What
right.
up?
What's
Hey,
up?
what's up? Hey,
Oh,
sis.
what
So
up, sis?
I am doing great. It's one beautiful Sunday. I just finished a couple sessions. I had quite a few girls today. Excited about today's episode.
Okay. Uh, Definitely excited. Happy to be here again. Episode 2, as we are back at it again. Uh, Been a pretty good day for me too. Leg day, fun day on a Sunday. So can't complain. But
Um,
super excited today. We've got some amazing ladies with us today. Super happy that they agreed to come on and kind of bring us into their world a little bit. So, of course, because we are now beyond the barbell, but we are not only just beyond the barbell for figure, we are beyond the barbell, we are figure and women's physique. So, we have both figure and women's physique athletes today. So, super
yeah.
excited to dive into that. So, enough of my babbling. Let's get right into it.
Yes.
So, for starters, I'll go ahead and introduce our figure athlete first, and then you'll just go ahead and introduce our WPD. Uh, Today, our figure athlete is none other than new IFBB figure pro, Jenny Liebl.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, let's take a look. Let's take a look here. Gorgeous.
So
Absolutely.
pretty. Such a sleek physique. She
Yes.
has here, nice upper body, very balanced in this pose to her lower half. I am working with her now, so we are trying to perfect her poses as well for stage for this pro year that she's got coming up. She's got a couple shows planned. We're trying to get qualified for Tokyo, so I'm
Yeah.
excited for Jenny. I know she's pretty excited about this season as well. And she will tell you guys a little bit more about her journey as she comes on.
Wonderful.
Ladies, quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. Quarter turn to the right. Face.
Absolutely stunning. Stunning.
Yes, stunning, stunning physique.
Yes. So I'm super excited to see what she does in the pro rankings this year for her debut. Who do we have for women's physique?
Also, we have today Miss Marika Jones, IFBB Women's Physique Pro. Represent. Yes, she is your number 7 athlete in the world when it comes to women's physique. She also got the chance to compete with her at the New York Pro as well. I think she was. I can't remember quite her placing at that show. It was either 4th or 5th, and she'll be able to tell you that. I've known Marika. I just met her this year. She's a really cool athlete, and I'm happy I get to step on stage with some other sisters. But I'm pretty sure she could tell us about her plans this year. I'm not sure what they are, but I'm excited to see what she has for us this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she has a beautiful structure, and we can see why she is an Olympian. Conditioning spot on. I think her conditioning got better throughout the season
It
because
did.
at New York Pro versus the Olympian, she definitely brought it for Olympia. So I'm excited to see what she brings this year.
Me too. Me
Um,
too.
we've got a little clip of her as well. absolutely stunning. Yeah, I think she definitely brought it, and the posing is beautiful, beautiful posing.
Yeah.
So let's bring these ladies on.
All right, y'all ready? Hi, Jenny. Hi, Marika.
Ladies, thank you so much for coming on today, taking some time out of your busy schedules to meet with us and kind of letting us in a little bit more into your world. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Not a problem at all. So let's hop right into the nitty gritty here. So, Jenny, Miss New IFBB Figure Pro. So tell me a little bit about your journey. I mean, I know you as far as I was working for an ISSA, so we met through there. So I mean, the work that you've done for ISSA is absolutely amazing on top of being an athlete. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Thank you. So I actually started competing 16 years ago, believe it or not. And I just got my pro card in year 16. Yeah, I started competing in 2009, and I actually had gone through my own personal weight loss journey. I lost 60 pounds with a trainer, absolutely changed my life. And It took about 6 months of working with a trainer 3 days a week. I owned a business at the time, a dog daycare. And so I was busy. And then I decided that I wanted to get certified, and I got certified in fitness, and I've been working as a trainer as well now ever since, coaching youth volleyball. I now own and operate a youth sports performance company here in Arizona, where I work with youth volleyball and youth basketball athletes. I have private clients, both in person and online. And I work with ISSA, which is International Sports Sciences Association. I've been there going in my 5th year as a content developer. So I actually write courses. I write textbooks, you guys. And I never thought
that specialist person.
Right. Yes, I wrote the glute specialist. That was literally my work. So I love it. And I love everything exercise, movement. And to me, competing is so interesting. I'm preparing for show 32 in 16 years. It's amazing to me what our body can do when you train it right, when you sleep, when you hydrate, when all the little things fall into place and it's not just one thing. So I absolutely love competing. I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon for me. And I'm super excited to be working with Marika. She's amazing with my posing, because I think if you look back at some of the videos from when I got my pro card last summer in Pittsburgh, love that city, by the way, the posing absolutely was the reason why I won the overall in the 35 and the 40.
Yes.
Absolutely. Hands
you
down.
You stood out
by far. I was looking, whoa. And I looked at the videos. I was like, oh, I see it now. So yeah, posing is everything. But yeah, so super excited. I've been doing this for a very long time, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
You see the excitement that this girl has. When she's talking about fitness and competing, that type of excitement is the drive that you need to continue to keep pressing forward to reach for that goal of becoming a pro. That's exactly why she still has her pro card. She has her pro card now, even though it took her, X amount of time to get there. She didn't stop. She didn't quit because of what? Look at this drive, this excitement that's going through her mind. She's talking about it. She's glowing about it. I love that. I love to see that.
Thank you.
I'm very excited for you.
Absolutely. So Marika, same deal. So Marika, you are an Olympian, which not everybody gets to be that. We have a lot of pros, but not every pro gets to get to the Olympia stage. So talk to us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, it still boggles my mind that I did compete in Olympia. I think it was something that was on my mind, a 5-year journey, just because I know myself. But I've been an athlete my whole life. So I cheered, gymnastics, dance, grew up dancing. And then in 2015, I had my daughter in 2008, got out of college, was party, and I just gained all the weight. So I was a new year, new me person in 2015. And I just started going and didn't stop. And then I was okay, well, I've always wanted to compete because I had a sorority sister in college who was an IFBB pro. And I was I never understood how to get involved with it. Found a coach, found a team, and started competing the first show. I did terrible because I didn't know the science behind it. Just eating all type of stuff I wasn't supposed to be eating, thinking that it what it was going to be. And then I came back in 2016 and got my IPE Pro card.
Okay.
Then I realized I was like, I didn't know what the different leagues were. So I was like, this ain't how I get to the Olympia. Which one is the one I need to be in? Completed NPC, and I've had a lot of close calls to get my pro card in 2021. I did women's bodybuilding for the first time, got second to Chelsea, got third in 2021. And then in 2022, I won my pro card in women's bodybuilding overall at Latina Masters Nationals, and got second in women's physique. And so as a pro, I was like, I'm just going to try women's physique. And that's where I stood. It's kind of just figuring out your niche. And so I started with the St. Louis Pro in 2023. Just improved over time. So my body gets better every time I do a show, and just kind of learning where to sit with my body as opposed to like pushing so hard in certain things. And so came close to an Olympia qualification in 2023 where I got second in Atlanta. And then I think I got sixth in Chicago that following week. And then like a week or and a half later, I ended up with fifth place at Tampa. Came out the gate, made a plan that I was like, we're going for it. The very first show out the gate in 2024, I got it at the St. Louis Pro. New York was already planned just to kind of see like what I looked like at a bigger show because I had never competed there. And that was an amazing experience where I got to step on stage with Sharonica. And that was the first time I actually met Sharonica in person. It was an amazing experience, like the whole thing. Olympia took the cake though. That was just like everything. And I remember me and Sharonica were walking and she was like, how you feeling? Are you nervous? And I'm like, you know what? What is there to be nervous about? We're on the stage
there now.
The nerves are over. You already qualified. You're here. And it was just, I just wanted to enjoy it. And that's what I felt like I did at the Olympian. So here I am.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And seems like you was on a rise relatively quick.
It feels like it. I'm going to be honest with you. It feels like it, but I didn't. In comparison, when I started in 2015, it didn't seem, it just happened. And all of a sudden we were here to here. And so
right.
It was just a lot, to take in, especially being a single parent. And I have an actual corporate job outside of actual working out and being an Olympian. So it's just a lot to like wrap your head around.
I always give any of you ladies kudos, especially when you have, corporate type, job setting. I mean, just to be able to really manage your time, because as we know, as competitors, I mean, it's a lot of time and sacrifice as it is between the cardio. That's maybe one session, maybe it's fasted, and then you have your training, and you might even have cardio, afterwards. And then of course, taking care of your body with the body work. It's very, very time consuming. So to be able to do that and also have a corporate job, not easy, mentally, especially not easy. So, and you have a child. So kudos to you. That's a lot. That's a lot. And to be a successful top athlete on top of it.
Yeah.
Easy feat.
I just, you just get in go mode. So I'm happy to be here though. And I'm happy that I can compete at this level.
Yes. Honestly. Okay. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into what we wanted to talk about today. And since we're already on this subject, I want to just jump into, number one, our mental game. Transitioning from amateur to pro, what was that like for the both of you guys? Tell me about the psychological challenges and mindset shifts that you've encountered during your journey, coming from amateur competitions onto that professional stage. This is the type of information we want to relay out to our people who are watching. So let's see what you guys got. What is that mental game like for the both of you? Let's start with Jenny.
Yeah, so I love this question. And for me, I think I think there's people that this will resonate with. I had 30 shows under my belt, and I'm much like Marika. I got close 4 or 5 times, and I was kind of relieved that I didn't get it before, because I honestly didn't know. And if people would ask me backstage, "Oh, are you excited to turn pro?" And I'd be like, "No, I'm not," because it's a whole nother animal. And obviously now that I'm there, it is, but it's a whole nother animal. Most people, and I think all of us have experienced this, most people that we know that have earned our pro cards never compete again. Period. Full stop. They disappear. And I've looked people up that have turned pro, like at the show. I was at the show when Dev turned pro. I was at that show. Dev Martin is my coach. And I was I've seen some of these other people turn pro, and I look them up now, gone. They're not in the sport anymore. They don't compete anymore. They're out there living their best lives, which is great. But that just goes to show that like it's one of those things like once you get that big card and you're like, woo, I get to take the pictures, then what? Right?
Then where do you go?
A show or two, yeah, and then they fall off. But for me, like I said earlier, it's always been, I always felt like as a competitor, period, we were always in that top 0.01%. You're up there in your undies on stage. So even if you get dead last, which I have gotten dead last before, right? You still look better and like have performed better than 99.8% of the world's population. So you're doing awesome. But that mindset switch to me as a pro now is there's no messing around. Like everybody is going to be at that next level. Everybody else is ready for this. Everybody else qualified to be here. So what they show up like is another story. But it's, to me, it's, I have to remind myself daily, and sometimes it's hourly, like you earned this. This is what it takes, right? And also, my biggest thing that I tell myself every day, you guys, this is voluntary. Because we all have those days where we're like, F this, I don't want to do this. Why am I doing this? Oh, it's Girl Scout cookie season, right? Or whatever. Or like, I had a weird week last week, a weird mental week. Somebody said something to me that shouldn't have bothered me, but it bothered me for like 5 or 6 days. Like, and so thank goodness I did yoga this morning, y'all, because but like I was really bothered by it for real. But like and I was like, well, why am I going to let this one thing bother me to the point where I can't stay on track for what I'm trying to do? Because I'm like, as far as I'm concerned, I'm better than that person who said what they said to me. And they also don't know anything about me, right? But it's that mindset of this is voluntary, right? We are doing this because we want to, not because we have to.
Exactly.
Or anything depends on it. So if this is voluntary, put everything you got into it, because what do you have to lose?
Absolutely. You know, that's something that I definitely preach quite frequently. You know, understanding, you know, obviously hormones are changing, you know, during your prep, you're losing body fat, you're hungry. And, you know, everybody deals with prep differently, right? But at the same time, understanding that, you know, a lot of us are probably a little bit more, you know, short-tempered, or things that might normally bother us that we don't really pay or feed into. We usually gets amplified during prep because we are going through so much. But it's just always important to tell yourself, you know, this is, again, like you said, it's voluntary. No one's making you, you know, do this. And another thing to also note, I get to do this.
Yes.
You know, this is something I get to do. And a lot of people who would love to be able to compete at the highest, you know, level and receive a pro card, not everybody gets there. So it's just really taking all of that into consideration and just always reminding yourself is I get to do this. So
perspective for sure.
Yes. Because trust me, there's thousands of people who want to be in that spot on that pro stage. No matter, they want to be there one day. They might not have I said on Olympia just yet, but just to be on a pro stage is a lot of people's goals. So that was good. That was good, Jenny. Marika, what about for you?
Mentally, there's so many things that like come into focus for me. This year has been hard to stay mentally on track just with everything that's happening in the world. Plus, like work is like really, it's days where I'm like, let me shut the laptop and throw it out the window. And it's good for me since I work from home now. And it's something that I had to tell a lot of up and coming competitors, like, you're going to lose friends. People at work, you know, when I did go into office, because now we're fully remote, so we can work in the office or be at home. I'm going to be at home. But, you know, going into the office, you have your food, you have things, and like the office setting that I used to work in, it would be like you were going to gain at least 30 to 40 pounds because there's breakfast, there's gummy bears, there's wine here. That, you know, it was just that type of place. And people would be like, they would have pizza and they would come up to me and be like, oh, bitch, can't eat this pizza. And some days I really wanted to fight several times, like, please just get a pizza for me. But, you know, so it's so different now being at home. And then like in 2020, I ruptured my Achilles. So when you think about things where it's like, I get to do it, I literally even now have to tell myself, like, because before I couldn't get up and move around, and I was misdiagnosed the first time, so it snapped again. So I didn't have surgery until like August, but it happened in March. Gained all of this weight and was like fighting my way back to the stage before I got my pro card. Changed coaches in the middle of it because I had a not so great coach. So it's all of the mental games. And I think for me, from an amateur into pro, how do I beat myself every time? It's not necessarily about the person standing on stage next to me. It's really how am I going to improve on the last look? And I think that's what I'm fighting with mentally right now is how do I improve my look from Olympia to now? Like, what is going to be the difference? What is going to be the game changer for me personally? Not necessarily it's about what the judges want to see, but also about how I want to look from a feminine perspective, from the muscles, from the shape, from the symmetry. So that's what I struggle with a little bit more now after, turning pro, getting on the pro stage. It was always about how do I improve? If I'm not improving show after show, then that's when I need to shut it down because it doesn't, my body is stopping to respond and I'm not just going to keep pushing it. So that's where I am mentally, and I'm a perfectionist. So it's like after I get off stage or after I've hit Olympia, my mind is like, well, what now? What is it like trying to win Olympia? It's like, where do you go from there besides, okay, now I have to qualify again. Now, what happens when I qualify again? How do I get from 7th to 5th? Or how do I get 7th from 4th? It's a mental game. Like, how do you keep improving is where you go in this sport, in my mind.
Nice. I like that the way you put that as well. I think for me, because you guys know I took a long time off. But before I took that long time off, I had also the worst placing I've ever had in my entire career. It was COVID year. I went through 3 coaches that year. Remember Zenobia?
Mm-hmm.
Three coaches in 1 year. Mentally, I was not there that year just because it was too much back and forth. You start one way, start this way. And for me, before that, I was in season for a year, but I had also took 2 years off before that. So you gotta think like my mental game had been going back and forth. From the amateur stage to pro, because I experienced so many other leagues. So like I started at INBF, IFPA. I did a lot of the natural leagues. I got my pro card with Muscle Mania before I moved over into NPC. And I think that the pro stage gave me more of a mental game check to like be on my A game, because in the amateur world for me it was too easy. It was just too easy. So mentally, was I doing my best and facing challenges on stage? I don't think so, because I never was pushed and drive to be better and do better until I went into the NPC. Mentally, was I afraid to jump on that pro stage for the first time? Yes, I almost walked out my first show, St. Louis Pro. It was very, very hard. I think that day I had never actually been backstage with a group of women who all look good. For one, there was like 30 of us. This is when women's physique had plenty of people on stage. Now the numbers are a lot lower, but back then it was high numbers, to the point where one of the girls really asked me if I was figure. Now, mentally, before you're stepping on stage for another category below you, and then that someone in that category calls you another division, mentally I was like about to check out. Like, coach, we about to bounce. I'm gone. We're not doing this today. But having to jump over battles like that and step on stage, no matter what's happening back there, and just shine when you get up there. Because I'm a whole nother person. When my feet touch that stage, like Sharonica is gone, I don't know who I present to y'all. It's just a whole nother person. So the fact that I can turn that on and off like that, I think that comes from just being in the actual bodybuilding world and on stage, not just through bodybuilding, but I danced previously all throughout my growing up since like the age of 2. So stage performance is like part of me. So mentally, that's not a game that I have a challenge of when my feet touch that stage. But what does happen backstage for me, if somebody's talking to me crazy or whatever, yeah, that can bother me. But you got to learn how to block that stuff out and just go wall for wall, pretty much. My amateur career was so long ago that I'm trying to, pull back those emotions and those feelings. But these are the type of questions that people who they don't have their pro cards yet, they want to know like what it feels like is it worth it to keep pressing forward and get that pro card and go onto a pro stage? Will it be worth my time? Am I going to like it? Am I going to be challenged physique wise? And I have to say to all of you beautiful women, don't be afraid to step on stage with some other beautiful women, because we all look great. It's just a matter of what the judges want that day. Because you could either place, like you said, Marika and Denny, dead last. You could place top 5. We don't know. You never know what's going to happen today. All you can do on that day of stage day is do what you came prepared for.
Yeah, bring your best.
Show up.
Bring
All
your
the
best.
work is already in. All the work has been put in. It's not about you or, necessarily anyone else. It's what the judges say. And as long as you know that you've done everything in your power, left, no stone unturned, then let the chips fall where they fall.
Yeah.
Leave no crumb unate.
Yes. every grain of rice. I think, for myself, as far as the whole, having the mentality, I can't necessarily say I've had mental, I think, hardships as far as getting on stage. Just like Sharonica, I've always had a performance background, gymnast, all-star cheerleader, all-star competitive dancer. So it's like performing for me. So that for me is the fun part. I think for me, it's just the more of getting in my own way sometimes, whether it just be me in my own head, picking myself apart, because just like you, Marika, which I think most of us, who are top athletes, which I honestly do believe that is what makes a top athlete, is that we are perfectionists and we will pick ourselves apart to no end to strive for perfection. And that's one of the things that I could say that probably can drive me a little nuts during my prep, because there's always something that I'm nitpicking at. So that can be a huge mental battle for me sometimes. In life in general, I mean, Sharonica, you already know, like, working for me has been very stressful. Very stressful with the 2 jobs, working remote, going between 2 laptops all day long. So life was just kind of revolving around just being in a laptop and trying to focus on my own prep and getting my cardio done and getting my training done, sacrificing my body work because I haven't gotten it done. So mentally, I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to find the time to do anything. So that's where I think a lot of my stressors come from. And then, of course, you got to really sit down and, ask yourself, one, how bad do you want this? What are you willing to do to sacrifice to go get it? Now, I had to have that sit down. I had to have that sit down with Sharonica. I had that sit down with my mom. And, we came to the final conclusion of what I needed to do in order to get to where I needed to get to. I think now I'm in a great place mentally. So those cortisol levels will be.
But we had to make a decision. So.
Yes, we had to make a decision. So, it is what it is. And I think it's going to be, definitely in a mental and health standpoint, a lot better for me. As many of you do know, that I have taken a year and about 3 months off from the stage due to having fibroids removed. And I've always had them for a very long time, just kind of putting it off for a very long time. But my last season of when I competed, it was a lot of stress. And I personally did not know that stress could actually make them grow rapidly. And that is basically what I had dealt with. So I'm a firm believer at this point, if it's raising my cortisol levels that much, I need to let it go. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much where I am as far as the mental, standpoint of when it comes to prep and balancing out life at the same time.
I do want to say this before we move on to the next session. We do need to move on. To all of you guys watching, if you're wanting to do this or take this on as a challenge, or, it's on your bucket list to do a bodybuilding show, or this, like, make sure your mental is ready before you even start a prep. Like, you want to make sure, all aspects, your relationship at home, just you've got a good gym vibe going. You're going to be comfortable training there for the whole season. You already know how you're going to plan out your days to make sure you get X, Y, and Z done for your prep. So mental is like the biggest key to success when it comes to bodybuilding. And if you already have problems or stressors happening before the season begins, then you should not go into a prep season.
Body won't respond.
It will not respond. So mental check needs to be together. That's like the highest of the high when it comes to going to any prep, for whether you're amateur or pro. Having that together will help you be successful in this type of career.
Absolutely.
If you don't have that mental game check together, it's only going to hold you back.
You ain't never lied.
Listen, I had to learn it for myself, and I'm not letting no stressor take me from that end goal, what I got going on here. So mentally, every day, every morning, I wake up, I got coffee on my meal plan. Yes, I do. I have my coffee, and I have a mental day with time with myself to get myself ready for this day, because I don't like to do cardio, but I'm going to do it, right?
You already know. Like, let me get in the zone.
So mentally, before the season started, I'm like, Coach, how much what we doing this season? Because I need to know mentally ahead. Like, all right, I got to get up every morning and do this. I got to get it together. But once I kind of start mentally, I'm like, all right, I ain't no choice. Me, sis already know, contract got to be in for my mental to be straight. That's just me personally. Some people wait, they send their contracts in. Not me. I feel like I'll play around with it, like, I haven't sent that contract in yet, blah, blah, blah. Nope, contract's in, it's on, it's game time. Nothing's missed.
I'll wait.
I usually wait too. And then this one is me to put my contract in early. I'm like, no, I wasn't ready to do this yet.
But I'll have the flight in the hotel, but that contract.
Yes. Same, Marika. I will do that.
Am I wrong, Jenny? You got your contract in, right? Your contracts are in, right, Jenny?
No, I have everything but that. Literally, I have the flight, I have like a hotel, the makeup.
So she have put all her other stuff except for the most
I literally pulled it the other day, and I was
that
like,
contract.
You got 10 days before the show. Like that, I'm gonna wait all 10 days or 7 days, whatever it is. They're gonna catch every last one of them.
Well, I swear I used to, and if it wasn't for Sharonica, I was like, I'm not signing this thing.
People do it, but I mean, it's true, Z. Since you sent that contract in, what's happened? Mentally, you are on a different level.
I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, I got to get this contract.
It works. It works for me.
It's the point of no return. Like you know, you have to go now because you didn't commit to it unless something happens.
Absolutely.
So,
all right.
All right.
Next topic of discussion here. So, we would like to know, what your thoughts are on, complex relationships between body image, your self-esteem, and the demands of competitive, bodybuilding. We particularly are interested in your perspective on navigating societal expectations while pursuing your personal goals as a competitor. So, talk to us a little bit about really your mindset, I guess, on your body image as you're getting ready for a show. Does that shift because of what society deems, is fit or too extreme?
Good question. I don't know that for me it shifts because of what's too extreme, because the first thing I want to point out, and the people that have never met me in person don't realize, I am 6 feet tall. So I'm already a freaking giant, and I stand out because I'm a Black woman, right? And I'm fit no matter whether I'm lean or not anyway. So for me, I already look different. What I do, and I found myself like we all have those days where you're feeling good, and I'll go to the gym like this, right? Where I'm out and like you can see it, and maybe I have my waist trainer on, maybe I don't, but I'm showing a little bit more skin than other days. But what I also notice, especially in Scottsdale, Arizona, where I live, a lot of white people, just saying, like they get weird, and people like, and then if you, heaven forbid, you have a waist trainer on or something, people want to come chit chat with you. And if we want to talk about mental game, I'm not interested in chit chatting at the gym. My response 9 times out of 10 when people want to come talk to me is, I don't look like this because I stand around and talk to people. Sorry. Right? Catch me outside. But I also work and stuff. Like, so I'm very particular about that. I usually don't make eye contact. Like, I could be wiping down a machine and somebody's like, are you done? And I will literally see them out of the corner of my eye and wipe it down and walk away. Like, I am not interested in talking. Like, I am an absolute asshole. Pardon my French. But for me, as far as the self-image, I do find myself covering up a lot, mostly because I don't want questions. Sometimes it helps me just to push through and stop like staring in the mirror. But I do find that like on season versus off season, it's absolutely a mind jumble, right? If you will, for lack of better words. Because for me, when I start, you see your obliques start coming in or something, right? That one thing that's always the last thing to come in for you. And you start to see it coming in during a prep. When it goes away, I'm like, oh no, right? My pants don't fit the same, right? These pants were falling off my butt before, and now they don't fit, right? That kind of stuff, absolutely, it's impactful. I don't care who you are. If you say that you don't care that your pants are a little tighter, you're lying, because you do. But one thing I have stopped doing that I used to do is buying clothes while on prep. Or buying clothes at a different size. Buy the clothes that you normally buy. If you're a size medium, buy your medium and then cinch that joint up, or don't wear them during prep. Right? Or wear stuff that like sweatpants or something that fits you during prep. Because that was terrible. I used to do that as an amateur. I would be like, oh, I'm a size 4 right now. At 6 feet tall, a size 4. I'd go buy a size 4. I can't wear this stuff at any other point except for the last 3 weeks before a show. That don't make no sense. Because then when you can't fit into it anymore, what does that do for you? Right? Nothing. It does not serve you. And you end up giving away or donating, a lot of clothes. So for me, I don't necessarily care what other people think, because kind of what Sharonica, you were talking about backstage when people want to mess with you. Again, my first thought, I'm very dogmatic about that. It's, you ain't me. You ain't 6 feet tall, black, 41 years old. Like, you ain't me. So to say that you look better than me, or that I look like this or that, or I should work on this, bye. Like, no, thank you. So I don't necessarily care what other people have to say, but I do find myself like covering up a little bit. More so just to avoid questions and people who want to talk and ask you things and stuff, because that throws me off in the gym. But then to your point, Zenobia, I don't want to start picking myself apart because somebody said something about something and I'm like, oh, I didn't even notice that. Like, right? And then they start bringing up stuff that doesn't need to be a problem.
Yes, those are good points. What about you, Marika?
I have the opposite. I'm really short, actually. I'm only 5'5", even though on Instagram I look taller, but I cover up all the time. Like, you will not catch me out in public. Like, and if I do go out in public with my arms or my muscles out, I will play a game with my daughter or my sister, whoever I'm with. I'm like, let's count how many people are going to stare at me or how many people I'm going to catch staring at me.
Yep.
And it's like literally a game. But what's even worse for me is the amount of people who feel like they can just touch you because you have. So
wow. We all pointed on that one.
I have huge traps, and literally guys will think it's okay to like touch my traps. Like, if I don't go out anymore, that's like not my thing. I feel old. You know how when you get older, you're like, I'm almost 40. I'm like, I'm almost 40. I'm not going out. But I purposely cover up if I go out. Because guys think it's okay. Or I've had a guy, we was in Pittsburgh. A guy came up to me and literally grabbed my arm. It was like flex. And I was like, I will punch you in your face if you touch me again. Or people with muscle fetishes, it's just, they really believe it's almost like if you're a pregnant woman, people think that they can just grab your pregnant belly. They really think that they can grab your body.
Cringe.
Other thing that is really interesting to me and really intriguing to me is the amount, and I hate to say this, but women of color who will get on social media and talk bad about your body. Now, these women can be out of shape. The amount of fit shaming I get. I'll say that the amount of fit shaming I get, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on TikTok, is a very weird place. And most of the time I have time because I'm petty. I don't care. I'm not a celebrity. I will go back at your ass. I will have my sister go back at you. I don't care, because it's like, if I see someone online that I don't like, I just scroll past. Like, I don't ever have to stop and say or give my opinion. but it's a lot of Black women who, ooh, that's nasty. I would never look like that. Or the backhanded compliments like, hey, oh my God, you look so good. But I want to lean, I want to tone up, but I don't want to look like you. It's like the backhand or don't get
That
too big. And
comment.
I'm like,
Yes.
ditto, don't get too big. You know, I'm
Right.
just that. I am. I'm that asshole. At the gym, I don't really have to deal with people bothering me because I have my gym planned into like my work schedule. And good thing that my company, my manager, everybody know they be because I get my work done. Like they don't have to worry about it because my work is gonna be done. But throughout, I build it into like my schedule with my lunch plan and I have all the time blocked out. So the time that I go, it's the same people. They know not to bother me. They'll say hi. I say, what's up? We keep going. It's only when it's like new year, new me people, they don't have the gym etiquette. They don't know. They ain't used to seeing you. So they stare at you. Or I go to like a bodybuilder gym when everybody in there wants to be bodybuilders or think that they're bodybuilders or are pros. Nobody bothers you, but general public, it's an issue. I am not now. I was the chunky kid. I was never. My sister still dances. She's a choreographer, dance, everything. She's getting her doctorate in dance, and she's linky, tall and skinny. She was supposed to be the ballerina. I was supposed to be the gymnast, the ice skater. Somebody was just going to be walking up walls and flipping and doing all type of stuff. So, and the chunky one, and so body image for me, body dysmorphia is real bad. Especially after being in prep for almost a year, and I started seeing the lines fade, and now you're trying to get them back, and I'm like, I'm in that weird in between where I'm like kind of in shape, kind of still fat. You really don't know what it is. So it's a mind mess to me. And I know now that I don't wear clothes out. I'm going to be walking around in leggings or something until I feel comfortable to wear like regular pants again because I'm not built like I am when I'm in shape. I'm built like a little SpongeBob, a little box until that waist go down. So it's just like it's like a real mental game for me when I'm out of prep and I'm interested to see once I retire, once I transfer out of bodybuilding, what this is going to look like for me.
Yeah.
Because I plan on competing as long as I can. I can't wait to be like, I'm fitting over 40. Like that's like my mentality this year. Once I hit 40 this year, I'm like, oh, this is the new 40. So I don't know. It's really interesting. Like I said, it's really interesting to see the amount of people who fit shame people. But dare you say something about someone being unhealthy and out of shape, the whole world like caves in on you. But it's very interesting of the way they look at us, at women who are in shape.
Yeah.
And
Which is
it has
why I like B2B Beyond the Barbell for this platform, just for that case. That's one big reason why I like being part of this platform is that we get to show and educate others, white, black, Spanish, all minorities, and that this is okay. Like we choose to do this. We are perfectly healthy, most of us. And they may not understand it. And we're all black women and we can all attest that our own race doesn't get it. They don't understand it when it comes to it. Men and women, actually. When it comes to social media, you will never see me really respond to my posts like that because I just don't entertain it. I don't entertain it. But for me, I think I had a lot of practice in coming into acceptance with my body and the way it is through childhood. I've always been physically in shape. I was born with muscle, pretty much had shoulders and delts my entire life. I ran track growing up. I did gymnastics. I did dance on the track and field. They always like, oh, look at the girl with the shoulders. I was always looked at kind of weird. And growing up, I would never go to school or go out in public in a spaghetti strap or a halter top. I used to wear pants all the time, sweat, big t-shirt, go to the beach. What am I wearing? Shorts and a t-shirt. I'm not wearing a bikini because I don't want nobody looking at staring at me and asking me questions. But guess what? Now the 36-year-old Miss Veronica don't give a crap. I'm not going to say the other word. I'm going to wear my two-piece bikini on the beach. I'm going to wear a halter top out to the restaurant if I want to. They can stare, they can look all they want, but guess what? You don't live my life. So people gonna think they're gonna make comments. They're gonna think what they want because guess what? They wish they could have a body like yours.
Absolutely.
They wish They ain't gonna never have it, but they wish they could have a body like ours when it comes to us competitors. So for those who do not understand, it's a choice, it's a lifestyle. And it's not something that should be shown or that we should be ashamed of as women at all.
I mean,
Yeah,
strength is beautiful. I don't care what you say.
strength is black. Strength is beautiful. Muscle is beautiful. If you believe it's beautiful, then it is. Then it is.
Yeah.
I had to come to terms with that. Actually, being in Florida kind of helps with that a lot because everybody is, I would say, vain here because everybody want to be in shape. But I don't get as many because I think Florida is more of because of the beaches and the beautiful weather. It's more inclined to see people like us walking around or just in normality, whereas in where I lived in Georgia, it's a country town or something like where there's barely anybody there that work out. Now we're going to be stared at and looked at all the time. But you know what? They need to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they need to see it. They need to see it what it looks like to be healthy. Yeah. Because 70% of our planet is not healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the foods. What's going on in our world right now? They're trying to take a lot of that stuff off the shelves. They're trying to take a lot of stuff out of products because we should not be eating it. So that what you were saying about people looking at you, that kind of hit me to heart because I got that growing up as a child. People I couldn't walk in the mall as a 6-year-old without people staring at my mom and me because I got shoulders as a child. You know what I mean? But I'm glad I had that growing up because now me coming to terms, you're not going to step to me and talk to me crazy or say something.
Think about that. At 6, they were staring at your shoulders. And look at how many obese children that we see every single day, and we're supposed to normalize that type of behavior. It's mind-boggling for you as a 6-year-old who you had to monitor how people were staring at you. But we look at kids all the day that eat McDonald's and all of this food that they're not supposed to have on a daily basis. And let us say something about that child being like, ooh, they're overweight. This is not healthy for them. And I'm big boned, you're not, and these people are going to grow up with diabetes and high blood pressure and all these different types of things that we don't ever think about. But when I think about people staring at us, even now as an adult, it has nothing to do with us. It's really about their perception of themselves. Because they don't want to see that somebody has the mental mind to take a hold of things that they can't control in themselves. Like to them, they can't fathom it. So anytime I think about people staring at me, I think about the fact that these people are only staring at me because they can't conceive that somebody can have this amount of discipline in their life to be able to take control of
body. Or reduce it down to what are you taking? Not
not what are you doing? Can I ask you about your nutrition?
What supplements are you taking?
Yeah, okay.
It's honestly, it's really sad when it comes down to that, and I understand, it's bodybuilding and that aspect of, taking PEDs comes with the territory. But, I get it. The norm society is not educated enough to know, exactly what it takes to do what we do at the highest level. But it's always such a mental it makes me freaking cringe every time I hear, well, what are you taking? Or you must take a lot of A, B, and C. No, if you don't got A, B, C, and D together, you taking anything is not going to work. If you are not eating adequately, if you are not training hard enough, if you are not doing your cardio, if you are not sleeping and getting your 6 to 8 hours of sleep, you taking anything is not going to help you. So it's just, it's still a lot of work regardless. It's only enhancing what you have already worked so hard for. And I think that is just the thing that makes me cringe the most anytime. Well, what do you take? What do you do? Yada, yada, yada. I'm just go to the gym first, eat properly, train hard, see what that does for you first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nope, we see that in fitness all the time. And I have to teach the people that are becoming trainers that they need to have that perspective. It's not just one thing that you do to achieve anything. There's usually 5, 6, 7, 8 things that need to all be in order. Or I don't know if you guys know who Lane Norton is, one of the great researchers out there. He's really good at dumbing stuff down for people, which is what they need. But he always uses the analogy, shooting the alligator closest to the boat. Most people are worried about what supplement can I take, or will this probiotic make me digest my bacteria better so that I can utilize protein better? Do you sleep enough? Like, nobody said, do you drink 8 ounces of water with every meal? Like, you're worried about the alligator that's way over there, and there's literally an alligator climbing into the boat about to murder you, and you're worried about the one that's 30 yards that way. Shoot the alligator closest to the boat, and this ain't it.
Awesome. Well, looks like we are coming up on our time for today's episode. It was awesome, actually. I think the information we shared was spectacular. Any lasting comments to anything you, Marika, or Jenny want to say out there to those figure and women's physique athletes who are looking to compete this year, who are actually thinking about whether amateur or pro, getting back on stage? Any last minute tips, success tips about outside of life? Outside the world of bodybuilding, that will help.
2 things that I would say as far as this sport. First of all, if you want to compete, no matter what level you're at, do it for you. 100%. It has to be done for you. And we kind of talked about that today. Your mindset has to be about you. And this has to mean something to you. It's called a decision balance, right? Is this worth it to you? Because if it's not, then you should probably rethink, like Sharonica said earlier. And then as far as competing itself, and this kind of goes into competing and outside of life, because we all have jobs, right? We all have ways that we make money. We all have things to pay for. This is an expensive hobby, period. It's an expensive hobby. But I have noticed over the years, the more money you invest in yourself, so whether it's with posing and a coach and making sure that you're getting whatever supplements you need over the counter or otherwise, whatever you choose to do, investing in the right food, right? Investing in the right Tupperware and stuff, it's going to cost you a little bit of money. And if you try and skimp on this, it's just like anything. If you get out of it what you put into it. So just know that to do well in this sport, you're probably going to have to invest a little bit. And I fought Sharonica for years. Ask Dev. I fought for years for posing coaches. I was like, no, there's people here locally that do free stuff. Blah, blah. Ciao. First session, I was like, this is different. This is different. And I was like, I don't know why. It's not about the money. Like, I had the money. Yeah. It's just, I don't know why. I was like resistant to spending money on it. But guys, I'm telling you, it matters. So when, not saying you need to spend the most amount of money, because remember, there's value and there's costs. We can have a whole conversation about that. Mm-hmm. But if it's of value to you and you can afford the cost, do it. Try it. See what happens. But it does take a little bit of investment in this sport, and it is what I like to call a very expensive hobby. So be prepared for that.
And key facts to what she said, people, hobby. A hobby that you turn into a career.
Maybe.
A hobby that a career can build out of. Mm-hmm. I'm a posing coach.
Yes.
You know,
it is a very great.
What can you get out of the, because like you said, it's a very, very, very expensive sport. And for women, we don't get much back out of this. Mm-hmm. Whether we pros and we're winning shows and getting the little bit of checks that we get, we're not getting a lot out of it. So can you piggyback off of this for something else that can help you stay around in the industry for 20, 30 years later? When I'm done competing, I want to be around, still involved somehow, because I do love the sport. You know what I mean? I feel like there's not a lot of Black women who in the sport that can educate a lot of us. There's a lot of women in the sport, but can we take away a lot from these women? Like, what can you do with bodybuilding that will help you, you can turn into a career outside of this? Or can you use outside of bodybuilding? That's the way I take it. I mean, I've always been a great poser, but I didn't know I was gonna make a business out of it at all. So I like that aspect.
I don't know. I don't have any. I mean, I do have a few. I'll say this. I say the biggest thing for me is one, get a coach. And most people are like, I can look it up on YouTube. Get a coach. Do your research. You don't have to run to every big name coach out there, because just because they did something great for somebody else doesn't mean it's going to be for you. And actually be coachable. It's a lot of people who don't really want to do the work. They don't get the results. Then they hop from coach to coach because they're not doing their part. You have to be committed and understand to follow directions. Stay off of social media. Like, I'm really big about, like, not hiding my shows, but I don't need that mind that I'm not going to say that word, but y'all know what I mean. That mind game of people putting expectations on you when you already have the expectations that you have set for yourself. And I tell people that all the time. Stop comparing yourself. Stop looking at what somebody else is doing, because there's filter upon filter, maybe some more filters on top of the filters that's making it look
Filters and body correction through Photoshop and
There's so much. So don't go there and compare yourself to what somebody else is hyping up based off of them standing in a particular spot up on a particular light with a particular filter. All that matters is once you get up on that stage and who you're standing next to. Everybody looks good until they're standing next to somebody. That's
standing next to each other.
So just keep all of that in mind. And like Jenny said, do this for you. Don't do this for anybody else. And if you're trying to do this for somebody else, it's not going to work.
Yeah. No, it is not. No, it
I
is
love
not.
That. I second that social media thing. I don't look at social media, especially if I find out somebody's going to a show that I'm going to be at, no longer looking at them, like, blah, blah, blah. Because I've had people who talk all kinds of hot mess. And then, like, at the show that I got my pro card at, they showed up and I was like, I stood next to them. I was like, I am not worried. I don't know why I'm stressed out about you.
Not only that, in the pro world, we've got all these different types of podcasts going on. And then they try to compare and say, this person is doing this and that. No, I ain't worried about all that. That's another thing on social media you have to be careful of. Like last year, Marika. You remember that?
I remember.
I don't speak no names, but they always trying to put somebody else against somebody and blah blah, and even like that.
Yeah, and I get it. A lot of it is them trying to bring awareness, especially the WPD.
I think it's just they're trying to hype it up, which is understandable. Competition is competition. A little shit talking here and there, you know what I mean? It makes it exciting. Which is fine, of course, but just be respectful about it.
Yeah,
not a kind of right. And not a kind of piggyback, I guess, off of, the social media aspect, understanding that social media is, for a majority of people, it's smoke and mirrors. And I say it all the time. If you're somebody who does feel like they need to look at somebody because for whatever reason, you feel like you want to take a look at that person's physique, dude, go to NPC News Online. That is what the person looks like. Just because they look damn good on their social media or their photo shoot photos or their selfies, there is a difference between a stage body and a body that is just in shape. Sometimes just because you're in shape, it does not correlate on stage. I see it many a times. So worry about yourself and run your own race.
We're about to see you.
Yeah. It keeps coming back for me to you ain't me.
I like that word.
I'm going to find anybody who looks anything like me. And that's why I love each and every one of you guys. And I just want to throw this out there real quick. I love each and every one of your guys' physiques, but I will never look like you. Zenobia, I've always admired your physique and figure. I will never look like you, chick. I won't. You are head and shoulders. You're different. Each and every one of you guys is built different. And nobody else is ever going to look like you. And don't ever let anybody tell you will. And so to people out there that are competing, nobody else is going to look like you. Do you?
Yes,
I feel like we've said that so many times in so many ways today. And I feel like that should be a huge takeaway for people that want to compete. Do you? That's all you can be. So just be you.
Remember what your category is. So many people see all these people on social media doing all this heavyweight and different things and outgrowing their categories. Like you have to be mindful of what your category is.
We are going to touch on that one here in another episode. But yes, that's the big
one. We need to get back together, ladies.
Be mindful of that. I see it all the time, and I'm just like, I'm gonna stay over here and lift my little lightweights and do.
Or you feel like you're doing it wrong. It's not the case.
Yeah, you can't look at what other people are doing. You know, I have a big ass back. It's been this big for a long time. That's just something I have. And so
Right. I got
it's
big ass
levels.
shoulders. They just
Right.
gonna be big.
It's just levels to it. And everybody just has to like
Yeah.
stop looking at what everybody's boasting up on some of these blog sites to make you believe that this is what the category is. And I think that is a portion of where we're dealing with, especially from a WBB and a WPD side, on what is really WBB, what is bordering the line of WPD. Because some days I look at my body and I'm like, ooh, okay, let me get to running. I run like 6 miles every day. It doesn't bother me. That's just what my cardio is. And that's just what I feel like I need to do to stay in my category, which is what I'm trying to stay in. I'm not trying to grow right now.
Gotcha. Gotta understand what your goals are for that specific division, what the criteria is for that division. And I get it. You know, some of us really do enjoy lifting heavy, which I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I do. But at the same time, I also know that if I do get out of hand, I will outgrow my division, and that is not what I'm looking to do. I think what people forget is that bodybuilding is about the illusion that we're creating. It's not necessarily about mass, and that is something I think that we're really misconstruing, because we're seeing, I get it, as women, we are very freaking competitive, you know, I get it. And, you know, we see the next one lifting the gym. I want to lift the gym. Great. But realize again what you're competing for, what that criteria is. There is a standard within that division. Look at the standard. Do you meet the standard? Are you outgrowing what the standard is? So you can't always base it off of, I just need to be big. There's a criteria for a reason. Now, for women's bodybuilding, by all means, lift the world, eat everything. Great. You know?
Do it, girl. More power to you.
But again, this was a really, really great conversation, to the point where, like, we actually went overtime today.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it so much. It was things that did need to, you know, be said. And I'm glad that our viewers were able to listen to you ladies and really get where your mindset is on a lot of things within the sport and beyond the stage. So thank you again for coming in and giving us some great tips, and really allowing our viewers and us as well to really dive into your world a little bit more.
Thank you.
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you.
No problem.
Maybe we'll have you girls back after the season gets going. Maybe one of you guys have gotten on stage.
Yes,
we go Tokyo.
Well,
all right.
Yes, we're going to close out this session for today. You girls enjoy the rest of your beautiful Sunday. And we hope to see you back again.
Absolutely. You as
well.
Bye.